Hi, I'm Brynn. I've been the director at PennApps. About a year ago, I was the director for a while, and this is the one picture of me actually looking official and directory, so appreciate that. I've also been to a lot of other hackathons. Like Ben said, I actually go to other hackathons a lot, especially newer ones, and try to help out the organizers, or just go to old ones to see friends and hang out and build stuff. Okay, so let's start with the story. At the PennApps in the fall, we actually sent somebody to the hospital, and it was very unfortunate. And I found out that it wasn't just us, like other hackathons actually frequently send people to the hospital. And in my experience, I've actually, like, probably more than half the hackathons I've been to, there's been somebody who got like very sick, and I happened to be there and like helping them out. At this particular event, this kid was throwing up, and he was like convulsing, and it was 3 or 4 in the morning. So none of the like building administrators were there. It was really just us and just a couple of the organizers awake at the time. And I ended up going to the hospital with him. It turns out he's 16 and from California, which is also unfortunate. And it was just a huge mess. So I'm going to give you guys a little advice for dealing with these sorts of situations, because I'd assume a lot of you haven't had like medical training, but it would be good to know how to do this. So the first few things, stay calm. Like, it's really bad if you're panicking and this like 16-year-old kid is panicking, and then everybody is panicking everywhere, especially if you have one in a big open space, which this happened to be in our biggest open space where there was like 200 people. So, you know, I was very calm, and anybody who seemed like they were panicking was not allowed in the room. Identify the right people to deal with these situations. So again, there are a couple people on our staff who actually have medical training, or are kind of used to these situations. And make sure that you know who those people are beforehand, and make sure that they are available at all times and you can reach them somehow. And be responsive and attentive, because this is actually a huge liability. Like, if this were to go wrong, you could be sued, because the liability waivers that we have actually usually aren't super legally sound. Shh. Yeah, shh. That doesn't leave this room, but shh. So, you know, they're not particularly legally sound. So if you're very like attentive and responsive, particularly dealing with the parents and the paramedics and everybody else, then the outcome will generally be better, and they probably won't sue you, which is nice if you actually like are calling people and trying to like stay on top of it. So here are some common problems that I've seen. Throwing up happens a lot, like more than I ever want to admit. You know, VT hacks, this happened in the middle of the night again. People just eat really unhealthy food that they're not used to, and a lot of energy drinks, and they get very sick. So the solution to this is to just have healthier options. Allergy attacks happen a lot. I've actually seen this happen a couple of times at PennApps, and if it's really bad, you may need to get something called an EpiPen. I would just, instead of having something like that on site, I would know where the closest place to get one is in the middle of the night, so you can run out and get it if something bad happens. And also, like, knowing emergency contact numbers. Physical injuries, keep a first aid kit around, just something very basic. This past time, we had like Band-Aids and disinfectant, and we actually used it a couple times, so it was pretty good. And flare-ups of chronic conditions, particularly things like diabetes, because there's a lot of sugar. So you may not know how to deal with this, but again, make sure you have the right contact information, and tell people beforehand to bring their medications, because you probably can't deal with every medical emergency unless you want to become a doctor suddenly, which is probably a little late, but yeah. Okay, other quick tips. Try to avoid pizza. I mean, yeah, pizza's great, but like it's not super healthy. Try to keep healthier options, and also keep lots of water around. We actually send our volunteers, Alex always coordinates this, we send our volunteers around with water like pretty frequently to make sure people are actually drinking water, because otherwise they won't go get it on their own. Emergency contact numbers, we have a medical emergency response team at Penn that is on call all the time, so having their number, having the hospital's number, and a first aid kit. And keep an eye on the participants, but your organizers are also actually really important. And you know, the participants don't sleep all weekend, but it's likely that the organizers haven't slept for like the past week. So keep an eye on them and make sure they're staying healthy too. And that's it. So thanks, everybody.